Hello, 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 beautiful soul, and welcome to Success and Prosperity Mastery Interview Series. Today's guest is amazing. He and I met a few years ago. Well, actually, we haven't ever met in person, but we've become great Facebook friends over the last few years. His name is Louie Otero. I'm the Angel Lady Terry Marie, your hostess for today. And this is all about how to help others be successful and prosperous, whatever that means for you, in whatever business it is, whether it's nutrition, event planning, coaching. Angels, of course, are, near and dear to my heart. So allow me to introduce Louie, and then we're going to get right to it because this is going to be an incredibly amazing and fascinating journey just in the conversation. I can already tell. We had a few moments of trying to connect a little bit because the energy was already so, the word I'm getting is jaggy, but it was already so infused with so much energy. And of course, that Mercury thing I hear is going around, but I try not to pay attention to that too much. So Louie Otero is also known as the Healing Apprentice, and he has a monthly radio show or weekly show. He's been studying with angels. Okay, guys, calm it down a little bit so I'm not stumbling, okay? He has been studying angels for many years, mastering techniques on how to connect with them. He's learned how to silence the mind so he can connect with his higher self and angels. He also teaches the modalities of meditation and the 7 chakras. He is an angelic realm teacher, the 9 choirs, and the 4 major archangels. He has learned from many aspiring master teachers and has studied quite a few modalities as ATP, astrology, tarot, energy work, integrated energy therapy. He's an angelic intuitive psychic advisor on 12listen.com. So without further ado, welcome, Louie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And how did you start on your journey? How did you get involved with all these angels anyway, my friend?
Well, first of all, Terry, thank you so much for having me on here with you. It's so exciting. And my journey, wow. Well, my journey started when I was a kid. I always had a love, or I call it an affair with, the angels. And my mom always knew that I was had a little something special because when I was younger, I would tell everyone that my friends had wings or they were very angelic like. So that's where it started. Now, when I was a teenager, I call it the dark time. Not because I was a teenager and I did bad things. It's just that I kind of disconnected and was really part of this realm. Like I was really involved with, friends and doing things and working and going to school and college and all that kind of stuff. And then when I was in my early 20s, something hit me and this miraculous angel started speaking to me and, told me that I was going to do a lot of things and help a lot of people and, one person at a time. And that's what I've been doing ever since, and it's not about fame or being popular or anything like that. It's just not where I'm at right now. It's about doing what's right for people and for those who are trying to connect to their angels. Some people have a very hard time connecting. They try so hard.
Why do you, I've experienced some things with my clients as to why it's hard for them, but what kinds of experiences or situations have people that you have worked with, why do they have such a hard time?
Because they're so Hollywoodized on what an angel should look like and what they should be, and they're expecting this winged, robed, halo kind of person. And I try to break it down to them that, angels, we expect them to have wings, but they're an energy, and the energy that's around them, which is their aura, expands so wide, they look like wings, But in Greek, angelo means a messenger. And what they relate to messengers back then, they used to have carrier pigeons. And carrier pigeons is what gave their messages to people back in the day. That's why
Right.
in some cultures they wore a hat, and in the hat was a feather, and the feather represents messenger. So a lot of people
Right.
don't know that about hats back in the day, where our grandparents, thought it was so cool to have a feather, but that feather represents being a messenger. And usually a person like the mailman back in the day, their messenger was had a feather in their head, especially in medieval times. The
How
page.
interesting.
the page, if you know anything about the page.
Right.
Yeah, the messenger, yeah.
The page in most of the tarot decks has a feather in his hat too. That image is just coming. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Well, have and do angels help you to be who you are? How did you get past,
It's I
the trappings of being human?
Well, the funny thing is that when I was first introduced to my angel, my angel was very harsh and to the point and said, "You're going to do a lot." And I didn't want to do it. And usually that's what happens to people when they are given the divine gift to speak and send messages for the divine. A lot of times we're ridiculed, we're made fun of. We're afraid of that. It's like being in school and not wanting to let people know who you really are. And you're afraid that you're
Right.
going to get bullied or shunned. So what I tell a lot of people, once you overcome that part of your aspect of your life, things just come a lot easier for you if you don't let it overtake or over upset you about what other people might think. And what I usually tell my clients is that what they should do is not focus on that so much, because there are more people that are more positive and want to know about angels
Mhm.
than there are the ones that don't. Trust me. I've been saying this for such a long time, that they're so afraid of what people might think of them, and actually
Yeah.
people are just as in tune to angels as they are. Now, some people may not be, and if you do run across a person, you just know not to override the angel message that you're trying to introduce to them. You kind of back away. And like for you
Yes.
and me, when you become very seasoned with it, you know when to pull back. When
Hmm.
people start this, I just saw an angel, I felt an angel, and I want to share it with the world. You just become over exuberant. You want to share that with everyone, and not everyone is ready for that. So you got to know when to deliver your message. And there's a way to deliver it. And I learned, my
Hmm.
angels showed me how to, um, what's the word, transmute, transmit, explain them to people at such a softer level than being so, Joan of Arcish, like got to deliver.
Yes. So how do you know in the beginning, because now it's not even second nature for you, Louie, it's just
Good,
part of your nature,
good.
and in the beginning, when people connect to angels or their spiritual self, it is many times foreign, and so they work at becoming second nature. And like you say, once you're seasoned, and that can happen at any point depending upon what your mission is, what your life purpose, how in tune you allow angels and whatnot to come to you. In the beginning, how did you know that they were with you?
Oh, you just know. It, it's like a dial tone on your radio. And I mean, for today's generation, it would be like your iPod being at full volume when you have your earplugs on and you have to take the earplugs off because the level's too high. That's how angels
Mhm.
are. They're just very, I don't want to say abrupt. What's the word? They're very, it's like a loud boom that they want their
Okay.
message delivered. So you learn to calm it down. I mean, because sometimes people can be very afraid of it. Like for me, mediumship, when I talk to spirit, I kind of tune that down. It took me many years to stop that realm from entering my force field or my energy level, because they all want to deliver messages. I got to talk, and I said I'm not ready for this right now. I'd rather be in the higher vibration and
Mhm.
work at a different level. Now, does mediumship come into role or into play? Absolutely. If there is a deceased loved one that wants to come through, they will make themselves known very gently, and then I can
Mhm.
deliver the message. But it happens very rarely. But when it
Mhm.
does happen, it's pretty quite astounding. I'm astonished that I'm like, wow, I can do this. Like, wow, I didn't know. It's just weird. It's like so bizarre that I can do that. Because I never proclaim myself to be a medium. But it can happen. I'm more attuned to the angels, because the angels really do deliver messages to me, and I do share that a lot on Facebook. When I post up like little sayings that they come through and say, and I deliver the messages. Now, it's funny, some people don't like the artwork that I use. It's really bizarre, but they complain about, oh, there's a man angel, and why is there a man angel? Why is there a girl angel? How come there's not an ethnicity? How come we don't have African American angels and Asian angels? And I'm like, well, if there would be more Asians and African Americans to make these angels, I would use them, which I do. I do use them. But you'd be astonished how people can react to art or to your message. So what I do is I usually do not engage in any negativity on my Facebook or any negativity on my Instagram, or when I deliver a message, what I usually do is say, God bless you. And that's it. I don't engage, because I tried to engage one time and it just doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't. It just opens the door for, oh, you're responding to me, so I can shove everything else to you. And it for healers or people on their spiritual path and wanting to help others, is like, what? Shouldn't you say something? You can't, because then you're actually inviting that into you, and it doesn't serve them, because it just feeds them, and not the way that you're intending it to. Because people on both sides of the coin will twist things to suit their own purposes. If they're truly open, that's one thing. But pretty much a negative comment comes along, either delete it, hide it, block it, or move on from it, but just don't engage. Just don't engage.
Because they're ready.
So,
they're usually set. Their mindset is ready to diffuse the whole thing. Like they just want to be not happy about it, or whatever the case may be. So there are many times I do engage. I'm not going to lie, because I stand my ground. And then I realized that I feel really horrible about myself, because I'm like, why am I trying to, I'm trying to help someone. But if there's someone that doesn't get the message, it's okay. They will get the message when they're ready and at the time for them to receive that message.
Absolutely.
And I've done that with my angel guides to, I would say, no, I can't do this on the line at ShopRite. I can't say this to this person on ShopRite. I just won't do it, because I just don't know this person. I'm getting there. It's getting better. I'm like, oh, by the way, here's a message for you. So I usually say, have a good day, enjoy your day. I hope this day, you have a blessed day today. I use those kind of words when I don't know you.
Well, how have the angels really helped you to, Louie Otero does not have a shell, or much of one, and never did. Even so, there were times probably when they would ask more of you, and it's like, okay, so now how do I do this, or how do I show up? Because when we get to a certain level, at least in my experience, then they kind of give me a little bit of a time where I get to be in that level, and then it's all of a sudden bumped up. And so how do you deal with that in your daily life?
Well, I'll be honest with you. If you don't do it, they'll nudge you like to no end. They have this way of it's a repetition of words, or repetition in music, or people talking. And if you listen very carefully, they're saying the same thing that the angels are saying. So you've got to notice the signs and just do it. For me, I do it. If someone says to me, "Oh, Louie, can you come on a radio show on whatever," or "Lou, can you fill in for me?" I will do the best I can to help that person out if it's physically able to do it. Now, if I can't do it, I will let them know. And then for somehow, some way, the angels make it work. At a later date, I will be on their show, or I'd be at an event, or I'm going to teach a class. I'll be honest with everyone. I've been doing this for quite some time. And last year, I needed to pull the reins back, because it was really depleting a lot of my energy, not in a negative way. I just needed to be me. Like, I needed to be of this realm. I needed to work. I needed to engage. I needed to be with people. I wanted to go to the park. I get the whole guru spiritual, go into your meditating thing. I get that, which I do. But I really feel that sometimes you need to digest the information, or take a break so you can be better at it. Because one thing I've learned when I start doing angel work is I don't like to be pushed into something I don't like to do, or if it doesn't feel good, which very rarely it doesn't feel good, or I'm out of my comfort zone. So what I do is once I'm in my comfort zone, I go right on the air. I go on the show. I write an article, whatever, the angels want me to do it. I'm ready for it. But
Mhm.
I'm the one I'm in charge of my fate and destiny. I believe in that. Angels are there to guide you, not to tell you, but they will nudge you, like, especially if you are connected with the angels and you have a conversation with them morning, noon, and night, and in the car and taking a shower, wherever they might be. Because I learned this in the shower. The reason why we really get really deep information is because water is a very high vibration of feminine energy, and in
Okay.
that sacred feminine energy, that's when all ideas pure come through. So it's really interesting when you get certain. I know you don't have a notepad or to write things down, but I try to remember as much as I can while I'm in the shower, and I write it down later or in the day, like, oh yeah, I thought of that. It's funny, or you daydream. It's really funny. But they really show up in weird places. So to give you messages, it's really cool.
They absolutely do. So, how have they specifically helped you in being successful at what you do?
Okay, success. Success can be many things. For me,
Right?
success is when I heal someone, whatever pain they're in. Success to
Okay.
me is when the conversation is successful, when they're smiling on the other end. Success to
Okay.
me is when their angels are connected to them. My
Okay.
success is when they are finally connected to their angels and they're so happy that there was a
Okay.
connection, you know? Like I said, success can be many things. I know people who are successful are very, very unhappy. So
True.
success could be a very it's just like the word master. Someone's a master at something. What is mastery? To me, mastery is something that you elevate to in your life. Somebody could be a master at 10. Somebody could be a master at 20. Somebody could be a master at 98 years old. But my point
Mhm.
is, success to me is when, with the angels make me feel successful when there is a definite blessing with the communication between me and the other person, that are having an engagement in a conversation about them finding their path, their life purpose, their healing, whatever their mantra is, if their aura or their chakras are in balance and we realign them and they're balanced again. Those are my successes. And success to me is not like I have 1,000 likes on my Facebook page. I've been saying that since day one, since I've been doing my radio show, which I do get a big fan base. But my point is not about having the most numbers or big fan base. That's all Hollywood. That's all radio. That's all egotistical part. For me, success is when I engage in helping someone and they call back and I get a little $2 card in the mail saying, thank you so much for being there for me at a time when I was at my worst. To me, that is success. It's not getting a medal, or getting, wings on a, you know what I'm saying? And you'll be
Yep.
surprised. It's really funny. Because when I do this, I get very emotional. When people send me things, like they'll send me their deck of cards that they made, or they send me a book that they just wrote, and I didn't even ask for it. Like, I don't ask for these things. They just
Mhm.
mail them to me because they love what I've been posting or something, and it's so touching that it's like, like, oh my God, I can cry. One time I wanted a deck of cards in the worst way. I don't know why. And they said, "Oh my God, this deck is so beautiful." And it was at a time when I was trying to save some money up because I had bills to pay. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, I was going to miss the date. Like, someone mailed it to me. Louie, I'm going to mail it to you. And it was just amazing. Like, and to me, those are successes. Those are successes. So for me, I feel like I'm touching people. And that's, to me, is more successful than having an honor or diploma on the wall saying I'm an angel expert, or I took a course and I'm certified in this. The certifications are my left brain talking, but when my right brain
Okay.
is talking, those are my successes. And they mean more to me than anything, I think, because it's a personal gift. You know, I always told
Mhm.
people this, Terry, that when I die and I'm not here on this realm, I want people to say, Louie Otero did this for me. I remember Louie. This is the message he left. He left this angel message. So basically, I leave a legacy behind. And to me, that's success, you know, to me. So it doesn't matter the amount of people that I reach out to, as long as I reach one person that, you know, it's funny. I don't know about you, Terry, because I know you teach classes. And I've been told by many experienced professors in college that they have 100 to 300 students in the class. And out of those students, not many get the message of the teacher. But if there is one student that gets that message from that teacher, he's a success.
True. True. Absolutely.
A teacher is teaching. And as long as one person learns the lesson, he's a success. But I'm hoping, of course, the teacher said, that they reach many, many people, which they do, you know, but we as human beings go into the ego part of our left brain, and we worry and we fear, and we, you know, that's what hits the brakes. We need our ego, I tell people. You know,
we do.
The New Age society put this bad name on ego, and it's really unfortunate because you need your ego to get up in the morning and brush your teeth. Your ego is what gets you to work. Your ego is what makes you do the 9 to 5, and your ego is what makes you do what you're doing right now. And it's forcing us to engage in conversation. So we need our ego, you know.
We do. Go ahead.
The ego can really be trippy on us. It can really put us down.
It's about blending the two together, you know, to have a balance. And so here's a question that's been kind of nudging, and since you mentioned, and I'm closing my eyes just to reconnect with that particular energy pretty early on in our conversation, Louie. You, in the beginning, or somewhere in the beginning, when all of those who are deceased on the other side started coming through, and they penetrated your shield, you learned how to filter them out without turning it off. There's a distinction that people in general don't know how to do because they're afraid to let in too much and not be able to manage it, and they're afraid to turn it off because they don't want to turn it off completely. How did you learn the balance to do that? To just filter it out.
I was taught to shut it off. Because as a child, I would see these entities, and I was very fearful of it. So I didn't know what when you're a kid, you don't know what's going on. You don't know the shadows, and you don't know the light. You don't know these beings. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they are until we learn what they are from our adult teachers, parents, and friends. As a child, we don't know. Like my grandmother would say, "Oh, that's an angel that's around you," or "There's a light by you. Be careful with the shadows, the shadow aspects," you know. And I realized that mediumship was the shadow aspect, which were these entities that would come into my life. There were nothing to be afraid of. I have clients that see them, people that they're, you know, mangled from the car accident or a gunshot wound. They see them in ugly form. You know, for me, I never saw that. I saw a softer side, but I was afraid. So I learned to pause it, not cut it off. Because I was afraid if I cut it off, they would be angry with me. So now they respect that, you know, they know when to talk to me, and they respect my will to choose on what I want to enter into my aura, my energy field, my level of psychic ability that I have. It's like, I call them levels, you know. Mediumship is a very heavy, thick molasses energy, where angels are very fluffy, airy, and very vibrant, and you can get very lightheaded from that energy. There's a difference. So I teach people how to, like, you know, because you know what? It's not good to always be in angelic energy. It's not good to keep yourself in that high vibration frequency, because you can make yourself literally get a lot of headaches. You can get migraine headaches, nosebleeds, ear aches, you know, sore throats. That constantly happens when you're in that energy. So, you know, when you're in that frequency, it's okay to be in it, but then you have to say, you know what, I need to come back to my level of being on earth. and enjoying my cappuccino, my coffee, my tea, my green tea, my water, and being, holding my desk. I'm here in my chair. I'm grounded. Because a lot of us, you'll be driving. I know, Terry, you'll be driving and you're like, where am I? I passed the sign, the block up. I was supposed to stop at the bank. And why am I at the delicatessen? I don't understand, because you're in that frequency. Happens all the
Yep,
time. I teach
it
people.
does.
I teach a
It
lot of
absolutely
angelic
does.
people that want to learn about I teach that. I do teach. It's really cool. It's really cool. But you learn, like I said, you learn to manage your frequency. And I said, dial it down, dial it down. It's like a radio, if you want to listen to FM or AM, you can change the channel. Only you have that control. You have that power. No one has the power. And angels are not like that. Angels cannot invade our space. Angels cannot take over our bodies. Angels don't do that. They live in a different realm. They don't understand
Mhm.
pain. They don't get pain. They're not human. We're the only creatures spirit wise that have duality, you know? Angels don't have duality. They're always in the aspect of love, love and protection and guidance. Some of them can be very forceful in a way that
Mhm.
they don't want you to go left when you should go right, and they let you know. you know I mean,
Yes, they do.
you know
They absolutely do. They've even, I think it was about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months now, I was thinking of doing something. I kind of got the message to slow down and rest that day. And I thought, well, let me just do a little bit of this and that. And then they totally put the kibosh on my phone. It wouldn't turn on. It wouldn't, I mean, it was dead. And I said, okay, I got the message. So I went and visited my parents. And then I went to the phone store, and it was a real simple reboot. Now that I know how to do that, but it's still a message. It was stop, stop. And I went, okay, I got it. I'm just going to go to the phone store, get the phone reconnected. And then I promise I go home and I'm not doing
right?
anything because I
Yeah.
didn't want anything else to happen. And it's just interesting how that they will do these things. And a lot of people are afraid that if they tell the angels no, they won't ever come back. It's how you say no. If you ask them to slow down, if you ask them to lower the volume, or you ask them to speak up, or when I first started doing this full time, they go, oh, good, she doesn't have a day job anymore. We can come to her anytime. And it's like, no, this body needs time to rest. If you want me to be able to do this work, we need to work this out. So there are occasionally times when I wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep. I know there's something I really need to write down, so I go and do it. Other
Mhm.
times it's just an awakening and I go back to sleep. There for a while, gosh, almost for a couple of months, it was waking up and doing work and then not being able to go back to sleep. So you can tell the angels, I need to do this, so respect this time, and we'll get a lot more done together. It's not telling them no or shutting them off. It's just managing, because sometimes they don't get it. They go, oh, Louie's awake. Good. Boom. There you go. Flood with information. It's like, no, 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 not now. Later.
Well, it's funny. There was one time I was going to a restaurant with a bunch of my friends and my wife and everything. And as I'm walking towards the door of the restaurant, I got this download from the angels are speaking to me. I'm like, now, right now. So I literally have to pull myself back and tell everybody, go ahead of me. I'll be right back. And then I have to go into my phone and I hit the notes and I start whatever I'm getting. I'm just like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, oh my God, not now. It's happened before. It's happened.
Yep.
It's funny. But I mean, only when I get certain hits like that, I know when to pull back, but they come
Mhm.
up at the craziest times, like the craziest time when they want to talk. I'm like, now, right now, I'm gonna go right before stage. They're telling me, don't talk about that. But I wrote about it. I just wrote about it. I spent a whole hour last night writing about it. And now you're telling me not to talk about what, you know what? It's crazy. But I've done it. I've done it. I've done it.
And if you don't follow it, you can get
Follow it.
into all kinds of, oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
I want to make sure that people understand. I'm not saying they're going to punish you
No, there's no
or
punishment.
have reprimand or
Right.
recriminations.
Right.
It's just you throw the energy like way off. It
Well,
just
what's funny? I learned when angels talk to you, they have a way of guiding and teaching you and showing you. And when you don't
Hmm.
see it, they show you. And they're like, see, you didn't listen. This is why you're here. Now you have to sit in it. Now you sit in that, Louie. And I'm like, I don't want to sit in it, you know? And it's so funny going back to what you were saying about what happened to your phone and you had to go and go home. There are many times when I went to the front of my door and said, uh-oh, I guess I'm not going to Home Depot today. Why? I want to go to Home Depot. I have to get this done tomorrow. Oh, okay. So I really listened
Yep.
to that feeling, and I'll say to the, it's many times when my wife said, "What's the matter? I thought you were going." I said, "Nope, they told me tomorrow, not today. So I got to chill out." And I sit on the couch. Let's
Yep.
say on Monday I wanted to go shopping, and the angels say, "No, you can't, not today. Go tomorrow." I said, "Okay." So then Tuesday, even though it's not the day I want to go, then I'll go on Tuesday. No, you know what I'm saying? Like I really listen to that voice that says, "No, not today." I don't know why, but I do. You know, and I always, when I'm in my car, always ask Archangel Michael to wrap my car in a bubble of blue, glorious light. I don't know why I picked blue, but I always use the blue light, the blue bubble light around my car. Get me to point A to point B, Archangel Michael. Thank you for that. And every time I get to them, I thank you, Michael. Thank you. And I always thank them. That's another thing. You got to thank your angels. You know,
Yes.
they love that. They embrace in that because it's showing them respect and love. It's amazing, you know. And it's funny because I don't know about you, Terry, but when I talk to angels, you know, talking to angels is a form of prayer to me.
Okay.
And you know, when I do pray, I might not get the answer at that moment, but I know that they'll deliver the message and it comes back to me in a different way or form or somehow, and it's
Hmm.
delivered, you know, because I really try to learn, because for me, my own personal journey is to step out of worry and fear. So I don't worry as much as I used to. I don't know if it's my age, but I don't worry as much as I used to. I'm not in fear anymore. It's whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I love it. I love that I learned to tune out that worry and fear, because no matter what, you know, it's so cliche, but to let go, let God, let the angels handle it. It's one of the most fascinating, releasing experience I ever had in my life, to just have faith and trust. Two hard words, and patience is another thing that's so hard to accept, you know, because we
Hmm.
all want everything now. We live in a society where on this device it's constant instantaneous gratification, and angels are, they don't work that way. They work on their time, and it's
And you know, that's an interesting thing because there's so many people that believe in divine timing and divine order. Absolutely, I do too. And for me, it it is also about the coming together, because it's not necessarily because we are not ready, quote unquote. It is more about we're not in alignment enough or in alignment to then receive. And so the spirit side, the angels and source or God, and we need to be in alignment all at the same time for whatever to happen. And when we do let go of the fear and the doubt and the worry, which is so difficult in a lot of ways because we're taught to manage and control everything from day one. And there are certain things that we really must, and don't like the word must, have to, need to, but we have to let go, or we're blocking what we want, what is already ours in the realm of angels and spirit, that's already has our name on it in our spiritual escrow or bank accounts. If we're in the way, we're blocking it.
true.
How
Because
did you learn to tune out the fear and the worry, my friend?
how did I learn to tune out worry and fear? Very
No, no,
easy.
how did you learn to
It
do it?
wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. I shouldn't say very easy. To answer your question is easy. It's when I don't know. I just realized that it's okay. It's a waste of time.
Okay.
It's a waste of energy. It's just a waste. I can't. There's no other word. It's just there's so much better things you can do with your mind
Hmm.
than dwell on something that you can't do anything about at that moment or time. When the time
Okay.
comes that you'll handle it, you'll deal with it when the time comes. I've been there. I know what it is not to pay a bill. I know what it is not to have a car. I know what it is to get fired. You know, I know what it is. Like I know what it is not to have a job. For
Hmm.
somehow, some way, when you're in that transition, or I call it being in the middle of the hallway, You know, you're not through the door yet, or you just closed one door and you're ready to open the other door. You're in
Mhm.
that abyss of I don't know. It's the most exciting time of your life because you're free. You're just free. So learn to accept it, deal with it, and just know it can't be any worse than what you are. I mean, if I were to, I think my mom said it the best when we were growing up as teenagers, especially me, because I was all about being in the mirror, all about being, the best looking and having a nice. I'm an Aries. Everything's got to be new. My mom told me that there will always be someone better looking than you, have more money than you, have it better than you, and then there will always be those that won't be as good looking as you, or be as better than you. And that stuck with me when today I listen to the words. Back then it didn't make sense, but now as I'm matured, I'm like, wow, it makes sense now. So
Mhm.
it's the same thing. Someone has it better than you, someone is worse than you, or someone is dealing with the same thing you are. Like they're going through the same emotions of whatever it could be. If someone is sick, they lost a loved one, they have no finances, they're losing their home, or they're buying a new home, or they're waiting for their new home. You know, it's like stuff like that. I'm not talking about, oh, I need a brand new Mercedes Benz, and oh my God, the color is wrong, and I didn't get. No, that's not where we're at here, because a lot of people feel that that's what they ask the angels for. If you ask the angels for materialistic things, you're gonna really wind up not being a very happy person, because it's not where it's at. You ask your angels to guide you to get that car or that thing that you want. My grandmother always told me the best gift you can have is not having the gift at all, because if you don't have the gift, you never will miss it, ever, ever.
Well,
So
that's true.
I'm not talking about material gifts. I'm talking about material gifts.
Right.
But if you don't have it, you'll never miss it. Because it's really funny. I read an article that the most happiest people in the world are the ones that have nothing. They're just happy about life. Like impoverished countries are more happier than rich countries, and it's true. It's
That's
so true.
because so many people compare themselves to others. And the only comparison that I teach my students and my clients to have is you're no longer allowed to compare yourself to anyone else. The only comparison is how far have I come?
True.
How
Well, that's
far have
good.
I come?
See, for me, I have compassion. I remember one time, I'm going to share this story because it's true. I was jealous for somewhere, and I told I can't explain it. Okay. I'm blessed I have a home. I'm blessed I have a car. There's my foyer. You open my door. There's this, the stairs that go up. There's a middle that's vacant, and I always wanted to put a chandelier in there. 5 years ago, my father told me not to worry about it, and I wanted to buy a beautiful chandelier for there. The funny thing is, I got a little chandelier that's at my work. At my job, there's a chandelier hanging from the whatever. It's
Mhm.
in there. It's gorgeous. And I always wanted it for a home, and I never thought about it. But here's the story. As I'm driving down the street of my neighborhood, one of my neighbors had their chandelier on in the foyer through the window that you can see that. And I was so mad. And I'm like, why am I angry? And I don't want to ever be jealous or be envious or be angry, and I'm like, and then I really started to think, why was I jealous? Why am I jealous of the two houses away, they have the chandelier? What is this negativity or this energy that I'm feeling? So I'm at work, I'm sitting down at my desk, no clients. As I look up into the foyer of my business, there's a chandelier. Not as big as the chandelier of my neighbor, but it's a beautiful chandelier. It's little. I got it on a sale many, many years ago, had it put in by my best friend. And I'm saying to myself, wow, I have a chandelier. I have a chandelier. Why am I complaining? And ever since then, I realized that I need to count the blessing on the little things and not worry
Mhm.
about the bigger things, or try not to compare myself to other people, because
Right.
I start comparing. And you know what? That is a definite, infinite angel talking to me, telling me, Louie, do you see the difference of what not to do? Like, do not keep up with the Joneses, because even if I did
Mhm.
get an expensive chandelier, I don't think it would bring me the happiness that I think it would bring if I even put it up there, you know?
No, because it's with the different energy. Now, if you get being totally, wherever you are, and you come into one, whether it's on sale or not, or you
True.
come into a windfall, that's a whole different vibration. But you're right. When if you had gotten a big fancy chandelier at that time, it wouldn't have been the right vibration, and so it would not have brought you as much as, wow, wouldn't it be cool to have a chandelier right there?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
pure part of it. And so people, um, in the beginning of my spiritual work, I was really concerned about wanting material things as, just to, and not just enough to get by. There's a balance, and there's a way to do it. And it's okay to have whatever it is you want, just come from the right space and come from the right place in your heart. It's not about keeping up with the Joneses or the Beckers or
Yeah,
whomever. That's the wrong energy. Because if
absolutely.
that's what you're trying to do, you're never going to have that peace of mind. And you're always going to worry, well, can I afford it? Or am I going to lose it? Or what's going to happen now? And you invite that kind of energy in. So it depends on where you're coming from, and everyone's needs or wants are like so different. Look at how many different kinds of cars and houses there are. Not everybody wants the same thing.
True.
It
Well,
makes it so easy.
I'm just saying, it's like it's going back to what I was saying before. It's like, I love the fact that I knew when to pause and reflect on the energy that was jealousy or negativity.
Mm-hmm.
If if it was a different time, I would have probably gotten to the store and got the bigger and better chandelier. You know, just saying. I would have, because that's me. I like sparkly and shiny things. But there was a lesson there for me, and the lesson was that I have one. I don't need.
Mm-hmm.
I have one. Like, I don't need a big one. I have one already that I got years ago, and I just, it was one of those things. I can't explain it. You had to be there, but I could not believe that I was upset about it. But I even talked to Isabel about it, and Isabel said, "Really?" She's like, "Really?" But it's really. So, next
So
time.
how I know that angels have changed your life from the inside out and back again. How is your life different than it would have been, or how have they helped you be different? Not
I,
different from others, but how is it different for Louie and Isabel doing what you're doing and listening?
I'm more at peace. I'm more calm. I'm more
Okay.
sincere. I'm more giving. More loyal. I'm more abundant. And when I say abundant, it has nothing to do with cash or money. Has to do with initiating connection with people like you, Terry, beautiful Terry, and people that come into my life in very, very beautiful ways. And to me, that's what has changed since I've been working with angels. It's such a journey. The people that you run into, it's such a journey, you know, and there's a lot of love involved, and a lot of, and there's, like, for me, like, I'm not envious of someone's success. I'm not jealous if someone is doing better than me or has more fan. In the beginning, I kind of felt that way, but it's really funny. Um, I learned not to really fall in love with my heroes or my super teachers, because they're just as human and flawed like anyone else. Um, I don't know who said it, but it's best not to know your celebrity fan crush, because when you meet them, you might not be as happy as you thought, because it can be very disappointing when you meet them.
Right.
So I have come across some of that in my life, but it's okay. They're people. I learned that they're just like you and me and anyone else. But that's what I've gained from learning with angels and teaching with angels and the connection with angels. I've become a better version of me now than I was when I was a teenager or in my 20s or in my early 30s, when I was such a, rebellious young guy that
Not
wanted to.
you.
Yeah, I was. You know,
So before we wrap this up, and you and I could talk
for hours.
literally not just even all day, but for days and days and days and days. Is there anything in particular that you want to share with our listeners about angels and their connection?
Embrace change. Angels love change. They love change. They hate stagnaticity. They hate repetition. They love when you find that right brain, that artistic ability that you have within yourself, that childlike behavior that you may have with yourself. You know, dance if you can't dance, love if you can't love, eat if you can't eat, like all that. Just enjoy the little things, you know. The funny thing, the angels have been really crazy. The angels have been guiding me a different health path and what to eat, what not to eat, what tastes better, what doesn't taste better. It's just
Mhm.
phenomenal. And it's funny how they're throwing doctors and nurses and nutritionists my way to teach me to balance a better, you know, whoever thought that I wouldn't have sugar in my diet? Oh my God. I love sugar. I love cookies. I love eat, you know? And now it's like, I better not have that cookie because that cookie has X amount of calories in it. And I just don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I'm not saying I don't eat cookies. I have a cookie, but I don't eat the sleeve of cookies or, you know,
Right.
the angels have changed my diet in so many ways and it's just phenomenal. And it's working. I don't know what it is. It's just working. I guess they're just keeping me more healthier, I guess, or more cautious.
It's also about your vibration having changed over the years, and there are
Oh,
certain foods, the way that they're made these days.
coffee.
I like iced coffee. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink practically much none. And
Right.
when I go to my favorite coffee shop, I have the chai tea because it's okay with my vibration. And when I'm not able to go, then I can have, you know, like maybe a half a cup, not a whole mug, but a small one of iced coffee. And I accidentally, a couple of weeks ago, got the skinny version. And I don't do skinny, I don't do the fat-free stuff because they've got some kind of something in there that just totally throws my energy off. And when I
Absolutely.
mean throws it off, I'm dizzy for days.
Yes.
And
Been there.
thankfully, it wasn't too bad that I could still do some work, but I was definitely at what my dad, who's a naval officer, would call half mast. You know, I was at half.
Mass. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought, uh-oh. And I go over in my mind, okay, what was it I ate? What did I drink? What was different? I must have gotten the wrong iced coffee.
Yeah.
And I didn't even finish it. I just threw it out because the money is not for that particular item, or any item is not worth me being on my
Right.
back and
No,
dizzy and out of balance energetically.
it's happened
So
to me.
angels have been changing my diet like they've been changing yours for several years, and there are things I don't eat
Following.
anymore because either it doesn't taste good or it sends me into a vertigo kind of a state.
Listen,
Sorry, not worth it.
Harry, let me tell you, they hit you hard with that. Like they'll say, I told you not to go, I told you not to go left, but you went right, and here, boom. Now you got to stick to your own stuff. They do. They do that very well.
Absolutely.
You know, they do that
Absolutely.
very
Well, would you be so kind as to tell our listeners how they can find Louie Otero?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to send you to One Direction. It's www.healingapprentice.com. If you go there, all my information is right on the page. It's right in my webpage. Don't worry. You can reach me at all the social network. It's all in there.
Perfect. And this is a guy you want to connect with. He and I have been friends on Facebook. I don't know how long, but it's been a while.
In a while.
And he's absolutely phenomenal. I love him to pieces from afar. He's in
Oh,
New
you too,
York.
hon.
I'm in Texas, as far west as you can get and still be in Texas.
I think it's great this this communication, and this is great. Is to just you're in Texas and I'm in New Jersey. It's just awesome to
New
connect. It's
Jersey, sorry.
New York
I
is fine.
think,
It's fine. New York, New Jersey, it's fine. It's the same thing. I'm in the tri-state area. Don't worry. I'm a New
well, my
Yorker.
dad was born in Jersey, so there
There
you
you
go.
go. It's in your blood.
Yeah, beer plant, right. Thank you
You're
so
so
very much. This has
welcome.
been, yeah, the word they're giving me is entertaining, but it's been phenomenal and informational and valuable. So thank you so much for sharing your journey
Thank
and
you for
opening your
you.
heart to all of us.
No, thank you, Terry, for having you. It's a blessing to have you in the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.